So hello everyone, welcome to Triaright. This is pack 365. Myself Sujit. So in this session, we are trying to complete our encapsulation. Okay. So guys, in the previous session, we are already complete our protected access specifier, but we are not writing the theoretical point. Okay. So now we are just trying to write all the theoretical point that's available in case of our protected access specifier. Okay. So the first point of this one will be this access specifier. Okay, these access specifiers, okay, are created by using single underscore, okay, single underscore before the data member, okay, before the data member or methods. Okay, if I try to create any data member or methods to our protected, then at that time first you need to provide your underscore. Okay, then next point will be we can access protected access specifier. Okay, we can access the protected specifiers, okay, specifiers inside a package only. Okay, so I'll give a note point on that to remember what is package. So package is nothing but it is a collection of Python module. Okay, what is Python module? We can say that Python files. Okay, just like that, as of now also we're trying to create a module only. Means whenever we are trying to define a file by the help of our .py extension, this file will be treated like a module only. Okay, so now we can say that it is a collection of Python module with the help of okay, help of double underscore init double underscore. So guys, this is a blank file only, but whenever we are trying to say that this is a package, must be this file will be there. Inside this file, no data will be there, but we must sure that this file will be available inside a package. Then only at that time we can say that this file will be treated like a package only. Okay, so now we are already completing our public access specifier and protected access specifier. So now the last access specifier will be private access specifier. So what is private access specifier? So now first we are trying to understand by through example. Okay, so we are trying to take the same example as we are already taken the Instagram example. Okay, so now the next type of account will be there are some private accounts are there. Means if I try to follow, whenever they will be accept your follow request, then at that time only you can see their photos and video. Otherwise, you cannot see her photos, video, and story even also. So at that time, we can say that whenever we are trying to use the private access specifier, means these are created by help of our double underscore. Okay, means 2 times you need to provide your double underscore. Okay, before any data members and method. Then what is the use case of will that? Like that in our Instagram account, we can access private access modifier only inside the class. Okay, now if I'm trying to create a class, inside the class, if I'm trying to make a data member or a method to my private access specifier, it only accessible inside this class. If I'm trying to access outside of the class, means outside of a particular class, then it will not possible. So now we are trying to build with that. Okay, so first I need to commit this one. Okay, so I need to create another class called our mock. Okay, so here I am taking mock is my class. Okay, so after creating this, I need to create a data member. So here I am accessing creating a constructor to create that. So here it will be taking one mandatory argument that is called self. Okay, so here I will be directly assign the value. So self dot a. Now if I'm trying to access like that, so here as of now the data member a will be treated like a public access specifier. To make this data member to private, you need to give 2 time underscore. So 1 time and 2 time. After you are giving two time underscore, this data member A now treated like a private access specifier, means inside this function on, or sorry, inside this class only we can access. Okay, now we are trying to create a method also. Okay, so here we are trying to create that particular. So here I am trying to create a method. The name method will be same, methods only. So here it will be taking one mandatory argument, because we know that whenever we are trying to create any object method will take one mandatory argument, that is called self. Okay, so now here I want to access that particular value. So how to access? Self dot double underscore a. Okay, now I can access inside this. Also, I want to access outside of the class, because we are trying to tell that private access specifier means inside the class only it make possible. Okay, so first we are trying to create a object, because without creating object we cannot access that particular thing. So here I am taking mock. Okay, now if I'm trying to run this one, okay, so here I'm not calling that particular things. Okay, still if I'm trying to call this one, it will be not printing anything, because if I try to access some methods or any data members, you are trying to use your either object reference or class reference. So now we are trying to use that concept. Okay, so first I try to use my object method. Okay, because here still we are not using the double underscore before, means as of now the a, or we can say that the data member will be converted into our private access specifier, but this method still will be as a public access specifier. Okay, so now I just want to access by the help of our object reference. So the syntax of object reference will be object name dot method name. So here my method name will be method. So now if I'm trying to run this one, so here it will be give me 200. Okay, now my requirement will be I want to print the a value outside of the class. So before, whenever we are trying to use our protected access specifier, we can access that particular value. But in this case, if I'm trying to do like that, what is my output? Now we are going to see now. So here I need to use that. So object one dot double underscore a. Now if I'm trying to run this one, it will give me an error. So guys, just see, attribute error means mock object has no attribute called double underscore a, because we are creating these data members to a private access specifier. Okay, so this is all about our private access specifier that's available in our encapsulation. So now we are trying to write all the theoretical points that available in this case of our private access specifier. Okay, so come to my word. Now we're trying to write all the things. Okay, then after writing, we're trying to see if I'm trying to create a private access specifier, if my requirement will be I want to use that particular value outside the class, it will possible or not, or is there any way to make this possible? Okay, each and everything we are trying to see now. Okay, so now I'm just trying to write all the theoretical points. So the first point is, these are created by using double underscore. Okay, so here I need to specify double underscore. Okay, double underscore, because here you need to use two time your underscore. Okay, so before any data member or method, if I try to use that, then the next method will be we can access private access specifiers. Okay, private access specifiers only inside the class, only inside the class. So now guys, my requirement will be I want to make private access specifier outside the class. So how to make it possible? Now we are trying to see now. So now I just want to comment this thing. Okay, so first, my requirement will be I want to create a data member and I will be assigning a value. now my requirement will be, I want to change that particular value, but in the outside. Okay, so how to make it possible? By the help of our two more extra method, that is called our getter method and setter method. So guys, these two methods are already inbuilt available. So now we are trying to understand what is getter method and what is setter method. Okay, so guys, what is greater method? So greater method says that this method is used to access private data member or access private method outside the class. Means if you try to use that particular thing, you can say that it will be helpful to use that particular thing. Means it will be not modify that. It will only useful to use that particular data member or method. So now we are trying to use the greater to access, then we are trying to modify. So at that time we are trying to use the setter method. So what is the use case of this setter method? So this method is used to modify the private data members. Okay, so now we are trying to use the same concept. So now I'm just trying to create a class. So how to create a class? By the help of our class keyword. Then here you need to provide your class name. So here also I am providing the same class name called mock. Okay. So now my requirement will be, I want to create a data members, or that is called our uncommon property. So to make it possible, we are trying to create our constructor. So this constructor will be taking one mandatory argument that is called self. So now I need to initialize a data member that is called our private access specifier. Now I will be assigning the value called 420. Okay, so now I need to I need to use the value, then I need to modify. So we know that we have two methods. First one called our greater. So now we are trying to use the getter method. Okay, so here we are trying to use the getter method. So method is nothing but whenever you are trying to create a function inside the class only. So how to create a function? By the help of our def keyword. So first we are trying to write getter. Okay, so after writing getter, it also taking one mandatory argument that is called self. So now here I am just trying to return, because by the help of this getter we can use that particular value. So here we cannot modify, so I just want to return that particular value. Okay, so here I need to make it possible. So as of now, whenever I am trying to use this getter, it's only possible to print that particular value. Okay, now after I am getting the value, I need to modify that particular thing. So how to modify? By the help of our setter method. Okay, so after I am writing the setter, it also taking one mandatory argument that is called self. Okay, now my requirement will be, I want to modify the value. So here we are trying to modify self dot double underscore a equal to, I need to take the user input. So input function, I need to convert it into my integer. So here I'm writing enter the number. Okay, as of now we are just trying to create a data member, means private access specifier. After that, we are just try to access the value. After that, here we are try to change or modify the value. So now we are try to use that particular thing. So to use that every data member or any method, first we need to make a object. So here we are try to create a object. So now we are try to write the, by the help of our class name. After writing first, I need to return that particular value. Okay, so now I need to use this method. Okay, so how to use this method? By the help of our object, or we can say that object reference. We know that whenever we are trying to access or modify any uncommon property, every time we are just try to use the object reference only. That's why here I am using object one dot getter. Okay, now if I try to run this one, what is my output, guys? Just see. So here it will print the private access specifier value. Okay, so guys, just see, it will be give me that particular things. Okay, because here I'm just writing that, but to get that we are trying to call this one. So now if I'm trying to call this one, it will be give me the value. If I try to print only that function or method name, it will be give you the address. Okay, so now I need to call this setter. Whenever I'm trying to call this one, then only it will be updating. So now I'm just trying to call this setter. So how to call this? By the help of our object reference. So obj1 dot setter. So here I don't need to print because here I'm not printing. I'm just trying to modify. Whenever you are trying to access outside, then at that time you need to use your getter. Okay, so now I'm just trying to run this one. So first it will be printing 420. Okay, so now I'm just trying to updating into 100. Okay, now here it will be updating. So now my requirement will be, again I am just trying to check that the value will be changed or not. So at that time I need to again call this one. So here I need to call again. Okay, so now if I'm trying to run this one more time, so as of now my date private, or we can say that private access data member will be 420. Then here I need to update the value called 100. After that updating into 100, it will be return me the value as 100. Means it will be changing or modify that particular things. Okay, so this is the way we can make possible the private access specifier outside the class, because here we are trying to use the getter and setter method. So now we are just trying to write both the theoretical points. Okay, so now we are trying to write. So what is getter and setter? Okay, so the getter method and setter method. Okay, so what is getter? So this method is used to, so this method is used to access the private access specifiers. Okay, access specifier or method. Okay, outside of the class. Okay, so every time, okay guys, if you have a doubt why every time we are just try to write this getter, then according to our industrial standard, means whenever the Python will be developed, at that time they will be suggest this name. Okay, so this is why we can write every time getter. Okay, this name should be getter. Okay, according to our industrial standard. Okay, now what is setter, guys? Okay, the setter method says that this method is used to modify the private access specifiers data member. Okay, so this is all about our encapsulation that's available in Python. So in the upcoming session, we are trying to build a small project, means in the backend project, how to use all this concept, means the encapsulation will comes to our picture, means it will be useful to provide this security, guys, right? So now in the upcoming session, we are trying to create a small project to use all this encapsulation properties, means public access specifier, protected access specifier, then private access specifier, then this getter and setter, to build a project that will be helpful to build your logic. Okay, so that's all for this session, guys. If you have any doubt, you can directly contact to Triaright. So thanks for watching Triaright.